Human raises abandoned alien predator cub. That was the Empress's lost pet. Before we dive in, drop a quick hi in the comments. It may seem small, but trust me, it really helps YouTube share this story with more sci-fi fans like us. I love to see who's watching and know you're on this journey with me. Let's get started and see where this battle takes us. Ren, do you copy? Ren, goddammit, respond! The comm crackled and died in Sergeant Elias Wren's ear. Static, nothing but the slow grind of dust storms licking the canyon walls around. Him. The Valkyrie dropship was a smoking husk 3 clicks back, half buried in sand and Erux shrapnel. His team, gone. Scattered bone and carbonized armor. He hadn't moved in hours, just sat behind a ridge with his back against rock, watching the twin suns crawl across the blood-colored sky. He should have died with them, but something howled last night. Not a predator, not something native, something wrong. He slung his rifle and crawled up the ridge, eyes open, trigger tight. Trust nothing. The canyon stretched wide, choked with mist that hadn't been there yesterday. Ren scanned the fog, infrared pinged, then flickered out. He reset it. No good. Something was jamming it. Then he heard it. A whimper. He froze. It was faint, like a newborn animal choking on air. Too soft to be Erux, too alive to be tech. Rifle up, slow steps. Every instinct screamed, trap. He moved toward the sound, boots crunching bone dust and broken crystal. Then he saw it. Curled inside the shattered remains of a Erux transport pod, surrounded by burnt-out containment coils, was a creature. It was the size of a backpack, sleek. 4 limbs, 2 long claws, obsidian skin that shimmered like oil under light. Its ribs were visible, mouth stained red. Eyes, damn those eyes, deep violet, staring straight into him with an intelligence that made his stomach twist. Predator, but a cub. He raised the rifle. Its ears dropped. It didn't move. He hesitated. The Erux had slaughtered his team. This thing was one of theirs. Bioengineered nightmares bred to shred through power armor and tear through steel bulkheads. He'd seen vids of grown ones taking out entire squads in under a minute. But this thing, it was starving, alone, and cold, and it had wrapped itself. In part of his squad's old recon tarp, Ren lowered the rifle. "You're not supposed to exist out here," he muttered. "So what the hell are you?" It made a soft clicking sound. It reminded him of a baby bird begging for food. He looked around. Scorch. Marks, bodies of dead Erux soldiers. Something went wrong here. And then he saw the emblem on the burnt containment pod. A mark he'd only seen once in a classified Erux file. The personal seal of the Empress herself. This cub wasn't just a soldier's pet. It was royal. His blood went cold. "Shit," he whispered. "You're the Empress's..." Crack! The sound of plasma rounds hitting nearby rock snapped him back. Red streaks cut through the mist. Erux recon drones, sweeping the crash zone. They were hunting, and they were coming for the cub. It pressed against him, shivering. Ren grabbed it, tucked it inside his coat, and bolted. Rifle in one hand, cub. In the other, heart pounding, he ducked into a ravine just as a drone screamed overhead. "This is insane. This is suicide." But he didn't stop. Because for the first time since his team died, something inside him told him to fight. And somewhere far above the planet, deep in the void black palace of the Erux Empress, a shriek echoed through the throne chamber. The Empress had just discovered her heir was missing. What will Ren do now that he unknowingly carries the Erux Empire's most prized creature? Predator Protocol Ren crouched beneath a rocky outcrop as the drone passed overhead, silent now, hunting with passive sensors. He cradled the cub against his chest. Its skin was warm, its heartbeat fast and erratic. Like it knew. Dust swirled. His HUD flickered. EMP distortion. They were jamming his comms and tracking heat. The Erux weren't just searching for survivors. They were retrieving something. and he was carrying it. The cub chirped, a low, clicking whimper muffled against his vest. Ren hissed, "Quiet!" It stopped, eyes locked on his. Something was wrong. Not just with the cub, but with him. He should be running on survival instinct alone. Instead, he was thinking of heat signatures, terrain advantages, defensive perimeters. He was protecting it. Ren opened his field kit. Only 4 things left: flare charge, protein tabs, broken navcom, and an old picture. His niece, back on Luna Station, feeding a stray cat like it was her child. "Damn you, Mackenzie," he muttered. The cub sneezed. A fine mist sprayed over. His vest, acidic. It sizzled. "Jesus, what the hell are you?" he groaned, tugging off the ruined fabric. It chirped again. Apologetically, Ren stared into those violet eyes. Not a pet. Not a soldier, a weapon, and it trusted him. He slipped it into his sling, wrapped tight against his body, and started moving. Fast. South Ridge. Cloak signature. He had to find shelter before the drones triangulated his position. Orbit. Urux Imperial. Flagship Vox Eternum, the Empress's talons clicked across the command dais. Her eyes, like shards of obsidian, narrowed as hollow feeds flickered. "He breathes," she hissed in her native tongue. "The human lives." The court froze. A science slave knelt. Majesty. The predator cub was jettisoned during emergency. Containment. Unknown human presence interfered with, "Do you know what that cub is?" Silence. "It is my lineage, my encoded heir. One of 2 ever bred. And it now rests in the arms of a mammal scavenger with a broken ship and dead comrades." She turned to her warlord. "Mobilize a reclamation pod. If the human resists, burn the hemisphere." Planet surface. Duskren reached a collapsed Irux outpost buried in sand. Half the structure jutted from the canyon wall, perfect for cover. He slipped inside, ducking low. It was dark, stale, filled with shattered armor, dried, blood, and the lingering stench of decay. He set the cub down on a medical table. It curled into a coil, tail twitching, eyes watching him. Ren sat. His hands shook. He hadn't eaten in 30 hours, but he couldn't rest. He pulled the nav core from the outpost systems and wired it to his suit. Ping. An audio log burst to life. He froze. Containment breach. Biological hazard. Imperial denial in effect. If found, do not engage. Protocol. Terminate host. Ren's throat went dry. Terminate host. That wasn't about the cub. That was about him. They weren't just trying to recover the predator. They were going to kill him to hide it had been lost at all. The cub lifted its head. It padded toward him, pressed its forehead against his knee, and closed its eyes. He looked down. "Guess we're both screwed now." He reached out, gently stroked its ridged skull. It purred. A Urux predator cub purred. And for the first time, Ren felt something he hadn't in years. Hope, until he looked at the canyon entrance and saw the glowing red eyes of an incoming Urux strike squad. How will Ren survive the incoming strike team, and will the cub reveal what it truly is? The bond and the blade. The Urux strike team advanced with mechanical precision. 4 tall figures wrapped in iridescent armor, their movements in perfect sync. Plasma blades hissed to life. No words, no warnings, just death. Ren pulled the cub close and ducked behind the med table as the first blast ripped through the wall above him. Heat washed over his back. Debris rained down. His rifle was already up, but he wasn't aiming. He was calculating. 4 operatives, 2 plasma blades, 2 kinetic lances. They expect no resistance. They think I'm weak. He fired once, shattering. A light panel, then rolled, dragging the cub with him under a split section of fallen bulkhead. A second plasma bolt scorched the floor inches from his face. He looked at the cub. "You ever see a human do something stupid? It blinked. "Watch this." He pulled the flare charge from his belt and threw it into the coolant tank. The room exploded in a blast of light and vapor. The Irux shrieked, momentarily blinded by the sudden burst of thermal energy. Ren moved. He tackled the nearest operative from behind, drove his knife into the creature's neck joint. Armor split, blood sprayed. He rolled away as the others regrouped. 3 left. Then the cub growled. Not a whimper, not fear, a commanding snarl. The operatives froze for a second. "Wait. They recognize you." Ren blinked, then one of them, taller. Then the others, blade raised, knelt. "What the hell?" The other 2 hesitated, but didn't kneel. Traitors, maybe? Factions? The one kneeling stared at Ren. A low, gravel-like voice came from its translator node. "Do not harm the Empress blood." "Too late for that," Ren muttered, pointing to the dead operative twitching behind him. The speaker turned to the remaining pair and barked something in Irux, a harsh sequence of clicks and gurgles. One turned and fled, the other struck, aiming for the cub. Ren was already there. He fired twice, then used the last of his strength to tackle the attacker against the bulkhead. A kinetic lance punched through his shoulder. He screamed, but kept pressing until the alien slumped, broken. The silence that followed was thick and wet, his breathing ragged. The cub limped to his side, nudged his chest. "Still alive." He gasped. The Irux kneeler stepped forward. "You are marked, human. The blood trusts you. It bonded." Ren winced. "Didn't have a choice." "You made the choice. That is why it lives." The soldier pulled a small med stick from its belt and jabbed it into Ren's shoulder. Pain exploded. Then numbness. Ren grunted. "You just drugged me?" "Stabilized you." The cub curled at his side, tail wrapping around his thigh. "What happens now?" Ren asked. The Irux paused. "Now, you must flee, or kneel before the Empress. And if I don't, she will consume the stars to take it back." Will Ren try to escape the Empire's reach, or confront the Empress herself with her own bloodline in his arms? The price of loyalty. They moved fast. The Irux defector, who now called himself Thren, led Ren and the cub through a network of collapsed tunnels beneath the outpost, remnants of an older conflict buried in ash and forgotten steel. Ren's shoulder was numb, but every step reminded him he wasn't invincible. The cub walked at his side now, silent, alert, protective. It wasn't just following him, it was guarding him. "How far?" Ren grunted. 60 spans to the extraction. "Point. An old scavenger relay. We may breach orbit if we reach it before the Empress's fleet descends." "She's sending a fleet for this kid?" Thren looked at him. "You carry her future. The Irux have not had a true heir in 1,000 solar cycles." Ren laughed bitterly. "That's insane. You people build war machines from flesh and acid. How can you care about heirs? Because war is predictable. Blood is not. Above the planet. Empress's flagship. The Empress stood at the prow of her vessel, her clawed fingers tapping against polished bone. Her face was serene, but her eyes burned with hunger. "Deploy the harrowers," she commanded. "Level the southern ridge." A trembling general stepped forward. "Majesty, your child may be among the targets. She is among them. And if the human dies protecting her, then he is more worthy than any soldier I have ever bred. Planet. Surface, relay station, Viridian Echo. The relay loomed from the sands like the bones of a dead god. Bent antennae, shattered solar wings. Ren stumbled to its base, Thren holding him upright. The cub sniffed the air and growled. Something was wrong. "Trap?" Ren asked. Thren nodded. "Likely, but if we do not call for extraction now, we will die here." They stepped into the broken comms room. Ren slapped the relay console, rerouting power through his suit. The system flared to life, He recorded the message fast. "This is Sergeant Elias Wren, alive on Gore 7. I have a Irux Royal Cub, they're coming. Send extraction or send nukes, but do something." Then the wall exploded. Flames. Smoke. Blackened figures poured through. Irux harrowers. 10 feet tall. Chitin armor. Plasma mauls. Wren shoved the cub into Thren's arms and fired. The recoil ripped through his shoulder, but he didn't stop. He wasn't fighting to win, he was buying time. "Go!" he shouted. "Get her out!" "No," Thren growled. "We stand!" one of the harrowers charged, and then the cub screamed, not in fear, in command. The air rippled. The Irux faltered. Even the harrowers stumbled. The scream carried genetic authority, a royal command. Thren dropped to one knee. The attackers hesitated. Wren stared at the cub as it stepped forward, head high, violet eyes blazing. "She just gave an order," Wren muttered. Thren nodded, and they must obey. But the harrowers shook it off. One stepped forward and fired. Wren jumped. Pain. Blackness. Did Wren survive the blast? And will the cub fully awaken to her powers to protect him now? Blood oath pain was the first thing Wren felt. Not the sharp, piercing kind, but deep, hollow, crushing. Like his entire chest had caved in. He blinked against the red-tinted dust cloud. Above him, twisted metal, the ruined relay tower, and the cub standing tall, eyes glowing with liquid violet light, paws spread, claws extended. Its entire body vibrated with energy, an echo of the same power Wren had heard in its scream. The harrowers hesitated, not from fear, from recognition. "She's changing," Thren whispered beside him, his voice full of awe and terror. "She is awakening." One of the harrowers dropped his weapon. The others turned toward him, unsure. And in that moment, the cub moved. Fast. She leapt. No, launched, across the ground, colliding with one of the giants mid-stride. Her claws tore through armor. Blood sprayed in arcs across the sand. The harrower roared, but it was over in seconds. The cub landed in front of Wren again, not panting, not blinking, waiting, defending, and changed. No longer a cub, not fully grown, but no longer helpless either. Something between predator and sovereign, Wren pulled himself to his knees. "You're not just some science project," he rasped. "You're a damn queen in waiting." The cub looked back, and something in her expression told him. Yes. Orbit, Irux flagship. The Empress stood frozen, watching the relay footage stream through hollow crystals. "She awakened early?" She whispered. The chamber trembled. She responded. "To a mammal?" An advisor approached with shaking limbs. "Majesty, this violates every protocol of bonding. She was never meant to imprint outside Irux lineage." The Empress turned and eviscerated him with a flick of her claw. She chose. "And I will not let a human raise my heir," she turned to her generals. "Prepare my pod. I will retrieve her myself." Planet surface. Aftermath Wren sat slumped against the relay pillar, his shirt soaked in blood. Thren worked on sealing the wound with Irux gel. "She's not just a key," Wren muttered. "She's a weapon, and a diplomat, and a ticking bomb." "She is more than that," Thren said. "She is the first to choose a bond, freely." The cub approached. She pressed her forehead against Wren's once more. This time, a gentle vibration flowed through him. Heat, strength. A bond, yes, but something deeper, like trust, like family. "She's calling to you," Thren said. "She wants you to stand when the Empress comes, at her side." "I'm not a warrior anymore," Wren said. "I'm just a guy who got left behind." "No, you're the one who was chosen." Above them, a distant rumble echoed through the sky. The Empress's pod had entered the atmosphere. Will Wren and the cub stand against the Empress or kneel to an empire that sees love as a weakness? The throne. Between stars, the Empress's drop pod landed like a comet, scorching the canyon floor, melting stone, casting shockwaves through the ruins. The Irux troops who survived scattered, forming a perimeter with trembling hands. Ren stood. At the edge of the wrecked relay, blood crusted across his face, the cub, taller now, lithe and powerful, at his side. "You can still run," Thren said quietly. "No," Ren said, steadying his stance. "She chose me. I'm not running." From that, the cub let out a low growl of approval. The pod hissed open. And there she was, the Empress of the Yeruks, 10 feet tall, clad in obsidian armor layered with gold-veined bone, eyes like collapsing stars. She stepped forward, 1 foot at a time, like gravity bowed before her. She looked at the cub first, then Ren. Her voice echoed, not from her mouth, but directly into their minds. "Return what is mine," the cub hissed. Took a step forward, not to surrender, to stand between Ren and the Empress. "She's not yours anymore," Ren said. "She chose. You fed her scraps, hid her, made her weak. I made her loved." That stopped the Empress. A ripple of uncertainty flickered across her inhuman face. She does not understand love. She was bred for rule. Then maybe... "You should have raised her like a daughter," Ren growled. "Not a weapon." A long silence. Then, "She is Irux. She belongs to me." "No," Ren said. "She belongs to herself." The cub moved then. Slow, deliberate. She approached the Empress, every muscle coiled like a spring. The Empress lowered her hand. Invitation. The cub stopped, then turned back toward Ren and roared. A sonic wave shattered rock. The Irux troops fell to their knees. Even the Empress staggered, barely staying upright. The cub's body lit with pulsing bioluminescence, veins of violet fire spreading through her limbs, her throat, her skull. She spoke, in a voice older than war. "I am not yours. I am mine, and I choose him." She padded back to Ren and pressed her head to his chest. The Empress stepped forward, but Thren blocked her path. "You heard her." The Empress looked past him, into Ren's eyes, and for the first time she bowed. Not in surrender. In respect. "I could destroy you," she whispered. "But you won't," Ren said. "Because for all your strength, you lost what I gained, a child who loves you back." The Empress looked at the cub, her heir, and turned. Without a word, she entered her pod. The fleet began to withdraw. Ren dropped to his knees as the tension drained from him. The cub curled against him. They watched the skies clear. Together. Epilogue. Lunar Diplomatic Station. 6 months later, Ren adjusted his new uniform. Not military anymore. Ambassadorial. Ridiculous. The cub, now adolescent, sleek and regal, paced beside him, behind glass, a council of human and Yeruks delegates. Outside, peace. He looked at her. "You sure about this?" She nudged him gently. "I'm not going anywhere," he said. "Let's go show them what family looks like." And together, they stepped into the room. Humanity was never just about strength. It was about love, loyalty, and the bonds we choose, even when the stars try to tear them apart. Humanity's strength has been tested, but the war is far from over. What would you do in this situation? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to join us on more interstellar adventures.